Okay, here's the photo we're working from. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of red and purples and, ooh, look at that color. Okay, and greens, and then there's hands. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to start out by putting in just kind of an overall background with maybe some splatters in it if I get lucky. So I'm going to use the colors that I want in the photo. So first thing here, let's mix up a bit of a green. I think I'll start out with a, ooh, that one. I've had these colors pretty wet, and so I wind up sometimes picking up more color than I intended. Okay, so there's Prussian blue, and I guess I'll try a little bit of Quinn Gold in with it. Oops, that's not Quinn Gold. Quinn Gold's over here. That was brown. I've rearranged my palette. I've moved to this little one, and I rearranged it, and sometimes I make mistakes. There. So see, I've got a kind of blue-green. That's kind of nice right there. All right. And then I plan to use this lilac, which is just Quinn lilac. It's just so bright. So I'm kind of using that as my go-to color. In fact, I'm using that more than I'm using Quinn Rose right now. I haven't been using a lot of Quinn Rose in a while, actually. And then I kind of need a peach color. So I'm going to take New Gamboge and a little bit of coral, because I need something for the hands. That's a little too yellow. Let's go a little peachier. All right. Now remember, this is undercolor. Okay. I can explain it as I go better than I can say it. Let me see if I got this in the right position. So first thing I'm going to do is, this is almost clean water. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot of water down here. I want to get this really wet. And what I want is, this is not like to get it deep down wet. This is about having, here the water is more of a lubricant so that I can slide my color around on top of the paper. That's close enough. This should be wet enough that if you turned it sideways, water would run down off of the sheet. All right, so let's start out. Let's see. I'm going to put this approximately where I want color to go, and you're going to notice that this looks fairly strong, but there's a lot of water here, and I think it's going to get pretty well thinned out. So this lovely shirt is sort of, let's see, I'm just going to add a little ultramarine. Ooh, that was more ultramarine than I meant. Oh, well, it's close enough. And we're thinking, what in earth would anyone want to do that for? Okay. Here's a hand and arm. Here's a hand and some bit of an arm. We're just getting them in approximately the right places. You're not trying to stay in the lines at all, obviously. Let's just put some of this green in here. Don't have to get everything just right. You know what? I've got so much color here that it real and water here that it really is running off. So I think I'll just get a little extra of it off. Oh, oh my goodness, look what happened. Well, okay. That's great. Maybe we'll tilt it this way for a minute. If it looks like it's going to be too dark somewhere, drop a little extra water on it. There we go. Okay. Well, I was going to put a little bit of raw sienna down there where those roots are. I don't even see where those roots are. By the way, your lines should be a little bit on the dark side here, because after all, you want to be able to find them when this is over with. Oh, that's the wrong color there. Let's put a little more of this up in here. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see. Where were those roots? Here's some. If I can find where an onion is supposed to be, I can drop a little water in underneath it and pull a little color up. I could put a little raw sienna in there. It's really not. Oh, that's too much. Ugh. Yeah, I don't like that at all. There, that kind of neutralized it. Yeah, that's quieter. Okay. Now what? Well, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, and you know, you see I've got, oh, look at that spot there. Maybe I'll leave that. Who knows? Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to watch for the sheen to go off, because I've decided that I want to spatter it and get some of this effect. You can see where I started the painting here. I want to get some of this going on. So, I'll turn this off, and then then I'll be back in a few minutes. I decided I wanted a little bit more the blue-green in here on these stems, on this base. So, by putting this in when this is really wet, the blue-green will push the other color out of the way. Starting to dry up there at the top. And there's a funny looking place with all kinds of stuff in it. I kind of like that. So maybe what I'll do is maybe I'll just use that blue-green. I think I'll make it a little bluer. Maybe I'll use a little bit of that blue-green instead of just plain water. Here's an area here I could already splatter, because I want to make those little blooms in here. I'm really wanting a little bloom. There we go. See the little blooms? The happy little blooms? Yeah. Okay, so this corner's starting to dry, because the paint right here at the edges, the paint runs down off the edges more. So there I've got some blooms down here. Oh, I really like that. This is too wet. See right here, it'll make little, kind of like little spots, but it won't make blooms. I guess that's okay. We can do that. So it'll push the other color back so that the blue shows up more, but it's probably not going to make these little cauliflowery edges. Okay. But I'm fine with that too. I think I'll wait just a little bit longer. Well, I was waiting for the sheen to go off. Well, it's gone off a part of it. So we'll just do this. We'll just. Oh yeah, I love those little things, whatever they are. You know, I don't like the hands. I think they just need to be a little more messed up here. There, that's better. I could probably live, well, I really don't want that spot there to be that strong anyway. Let's just do this. Okay, now, that's a little bit softened, but it's still there, and I love this. That just was so chewed up. It's still probably be fine. Well, I didn't get anywhere with this. There, that's better. All right, I'm going to let this dry. And I think when it's dry, it's going to be a whole lot lighter. I'm counting on it being somewhat lighter. Okay, see you in a little bit. Okay, so of the three that I've done so far, the three starts that I've done so far, this is my least favorite. So let's see what I can do with it. So I have my, I've still got some of that blue-green there. I've got this purple that I made up. And I'm going to get the Quinlilac out because that's the color that I'm in love with right now. I'm fickle. Give me a few months and I'll move on to something else. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, oops, I should have put this phone up. What I'm going to do here is, let's see, is make sure I'm on the sheet where you can see it. I'll just fold this so that we have a little bit more room here. Lack of planning. All right, so I'm just going to come along here and I'm going to put in a really strong edge. You don't have to go about this just the way I do. Please don't feel that you're supposed to, or that there is a supposed to about this or anything else. Now that's a little redder there. Oh, isn't that fun? Because I picked up these had separated, and they were separated on my brush when I did this. Now I'm trying to develop a new habit because I'm working with this really big thirsty brush, and it can use up a whole lot of paint, and so I don't want to wash it out when I want to soften an edge, so I'm picking up a separate brush to do that. I think I'll skip a few places and do something like that. And the fact is, let's see, I've got this brush loaded up, but I'm going to rake that brush off a couple of times there. Okay. Because I love these little lines that are coming up in here. Now, if you don't love them, then don't get carried away with them. But if you're like me and you love them, then have some fun with them. Okay. But here's the thing. You can have too much fun. You know, you don't want just a bunch of lines there. I mean, that could get pretty boring. We definitely need more blue. Let's get a little more blue going here. This ultramarine that I'm using. But again, you don't have to be stuck with doing whatever I'm doing. Oh, I like that. So, does that look like this? No. Oh, shoot. I forgot this little ditty here in the middle. Got too busy talking. There. That's probably going to fill itself in. Whatever. Okay. See, that's this little papery place that's gone more green right there. And I like that spot. But I may not be able to make it happen on this one very well because I forgot it. We'll see. I'll try to find a way. I want those little lines to be thin. Here, let's blot. Oh, there. Okay. Yeah, I would really like to make this work. I'm pressing down really hard all around this. And I could run off to the dryer, and that would help too. I think if I just keep blotting it for a little bit, and then I can come back in and paint this when it's dry. Because I really like that spot. I felt like this onion, I keep wanting to call them beets, this onion needed now that's one purple onion there. Okay. So the main thing is think of this as not a representation of an onion. Think of this as art, and that what you want here, look at the way the color is moving around in here. Isn't that pretty? I mean, I think that's beautiful. And I'm loving the way it's integrating into the green here. I think there's some fun things that we can do with that. So this little area right here is still creeping in, but it's not so bad anymore. I think we're going to be able to save it. I'm going to blot just a bit more of this up. I mean, I'm really blotting. This is like serious blotting, folks. Not just any blotting. This is like serious blotting. There. Okay, let's go on to another. I started to call it a bead again. And oh dear, look, I got smears all out there. Oh gee, what will that be? I don't know. Let's add a little water to it. Make it a little less important there. All right, I think that's cool. We'll let it be what it is right there. So we're over to the next one. And you can see this onion. Well, this is some of the peel coming off the side. See, it almost looks like twin onions, Siamese twins. But that's not what it is. So I left a line out here. It does a thing like this. Now I'm going to get that a lot redder. And we're going to come up here. You know, this would be, I could get more of the effect I wanted if I used a small brush. Right here. Why don't I do that? Why don't I give in? Just like some of those little lines there. Okay, here. You know, you can overdo that stuff. I think I'm getting carried away, and I don't like. It's just getting a little too crazy there. I don't know why I didn't turn that phone off, the ringer. Yeah, see, that's just too busy, too many little things with that little brush. There. Let's stop right there. I want this to get really dark down in here. And I'm going to skip from there over to okay, there goes a roll of tape. Okay. Over to this onion back here. And it's very dark and blue, almost black. And we may have to work on it to make it go black. So this is still our first onion layer, right? Let's pick up a little more red there. Change it up a little bit. Okay, we got that. Thing is, I want to paint this onion. And I guess what I'll do is I'll just leave a little line around it. So let's see, go. Now, here's the thing. This is not your finished onion. And forgive me if I slip and call it a beet. I can feel that coming on anytime now. And I had one person, I had a number of people that started referring to it as beets, probably because they heard me doing it. But then one person thought they were radishes. So, well, you did not grow up on a farm, did you? Okay. So I'm leaving a little bit of a line there, because I wanted this one to be lighter than the one in back. Okay, there we go. So we got some of that. What I really want to do is paint this beet here, 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 and leave this beet undone until after the masking happens. But the paper has to be really dry for the masking, and that's probably the next lesson. So for right now, I'll just keep a little channel between these. There is a little something going on back here. See, I can paint that little channel in, and later I can mute it if I want to. See, there's a little dark area right there, and I like that. I like those little individual things that are going on. Whoa, I'm starting to run low on paint here. And I haven't loaded this brush all the way up. It might be there's water up in here. You know, if you've got water up in this part of the brush and you only put paint down there, then you're going to thin it out part of the time. And maybe you want to thin it out sometimes. But then maybe sometimes you didn't, like right now. Uh-oh. I kind of messed up. There we go. There's a nice... Oh, and this part up here, that's, you know, looks more like a corn husk or something. So... let's let it do that. I washed it out. I washed out the brush. Well, what I really wanted to do, right here, I decided I wanted to soften that area. There. I want to make it turn into this husky looking stuff later. Okay, let's just leave it like that. In the meanwhile, we've got this area that's not dry, but it's dry enough. That maybe I can make an edge there. And if I get a little bit of a run back down here, it'll just be interesting. In fact, it'll probably look like part of a peel. Over here, see there's that dark area right there. I don't know if you have that on your drawing, but you can put it there if you decide you want it. I won't mind. And right here, we want to soften this edge. Like that. That's going to be a piece of skin overlapping another piece of skin. Okay, so we've done this much. This could be red, or they don't call them purple. Do they call them purple onions or red onions? Let's add a little water in there and give them a little bit more. See, they're going to have this. This looks dark, but it's really not. By the time we add stuff back in there, it's not going to be all that dark. Okay, right there. See, there's more than one way to skin something. To skin an onion. Okay. So, this is my stopping point. I just didn't like how this onion looked. The edge just looked too mechanical. So I sort of broke it up and made it a little bit lighter. Pull some of the color out here for now. And I have no idea where I'm going there, but I didn't like it. I don't really like this edge either. And it could certainly run into this onion. Just looks... I'm just going to take that line out of there. Some of that's just the pencil line. And I'm kind of beating it up just a little bit. Beating it up. Beating up. Remember, it's not a beet, it's an onion. There. Just kind of playing with the texture just a little bit. These look too smooth. You know, more like something made out of ceramic instead of an onion. My others went better than this, but I kind of just got into the business of just neatly painting a shape and just trying to break it up a little bit, smudge it some. This looks a little beat up. This one's looking pretty good. Those are much better now, and I don't really care about that little guy. So, okay. That's way better. Now, that's the end of the video. Well, except for the rest of it. Okay, if you hear a strange background sound, that's a large dog chewing dry dog food. Okay, here's a sample of masking the roots. Now, I want to explain exactly what I'm doing here. By the way, that looks like two eyes. It looks sort of like a monster. It doesn't matter about leaving holes in the center, as I did on the drawing, actually, because you're going to paint those in later anyway. They're not the same color as the background. All right, so let's pretend that this is the bottom of a onion. I started to call it a beet. Okay, and I might even have some lines in here showing you where to... kind of the outside edges of it. I might or might not. So, what we're going to do here is I have this magnificent handmade tool, which I'm passing out to everyone. Oh, wait a minute. Before I start, here's the bottom of an onion. Don't, you may be freehanding this. It's your choice. Some of you have a pattern that shows it, and some of you don't. Or you didn't choose to trace it. But here's the thing. When you get start doing your own, don't get caught up in doing something that looks like this. It's just an insult to onionhood. Okay. Here is our onion. Now, I have some straws, which would be a great way to get a glop of this out, but I haven't seen them in 2 years. So I made a brief look and decided it wasn't worth the effort. If you have straws at home, you might bring them to class. So what I want to pour out that might be enough. I'll have to try it and see. Okay, let's just maneuver it around here up under the onion. Oh, I think that's going to work out. So, see how this works? Yeah, okay, that was plenty enough. All right, then at some point, we want to start developing some divisions in it. There can be some roots. This works great. But I think my tool's better. Okay. So some of these roots are kind of wide and they almost have a blunt end on them. You've got to have enough masking that you can pull it out like this. If there's masking down there at all, even if it looks, even if it's not thick, it's still going to do the job. So I want more of this to kind of be together. Oh, some of that started to dry. And then, but it's fun to have a few roots that kind of play around here. Like I said, you're going to do painting into this later, this area, when it's lifted. And it's best to look at the photo for ideas too. You need the photo. Mine might look just a little too creepy. I mean, this is not supposed to be a Halloween onion. So maybe clump a few more of these together. And you can always make a little trail there too. Can y'all see that on the video? So I'm used to people answering me, and this is very confusing. Okay, so I might do something like that. I think I could dip into here with this and add to it. Yeah, there we go. Because you might have one or two long ones, something like that. So you could see that pretty well. When I do it on the painting, it's not going to show up as much. I need tweezers to get that out. Remember, when you close up your masking, that you want to have all these little crumbles off of here. Do better wiping it with a paper towel, because those let air in. And over time, you might either have a leak or just have your masking start to clot up. All right, so now I'm going to do one of the real onions. I hope I turned this on. Yeah, okay. I purposefully left this one, and I apologize to the classes that may have already painted over this, because there's a lot of roots that go over in front of this one. And we could put that in with tinted white ink later if necessary, but I just thought I'd mention that. So I'm actually going to be looking at this photo a little bit for ideas. It doesn't mean that I can't make my onion be really exciting and interesting. I don't know what that is. I'm particularly interested in, say make one cross over another. Don't always make them parallel. See, you can do it with this. You just have to kind of lay it down because it's an oval, so it doesn't really give you a big pointed area. Let's just pull a lot of that down here. Well, I may just wind up using this, but I'm real proud of my tool, so I have to use it some just because I want to get the lid back on this as fast as possible. I'm just working straight out of the jar because I don't want to pour out a whole big amount and expose it to air even more and then put it back. Yeah, let some of those cross over each other because they do. Oh, this is going to be a really interesting one. Oops. Like I said, see, some of that's pretty thin on there, but it still does the job. I think I want a stray one right here. Yeah. In fact, I don't know what that does. Okay. So there's a sample of that. So what I scheduled is working in my classes is painting this whole big area, getting it partially dry or dry, working on the beets, and I recommend just these beets, and then let it set a day or two. And so the classes stop at that point, and then the next week they start out by putting in the masking. So because masking should always go on very, very dry paper. If it doesn't, you may have permanent masking there. So that's why I showed it now. So bye, everybody. Yeah.